Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, then we have that in common because this is my first time here as well. As you can see from the title of this, I'm going to be talking about my experience losing my firstborn son. So what I basically want to do with this is to document feelings that I've had over these past few weeks, experiences and feelings that I'm going through currently, and things like that, just because after this happened I looked on YouTube for some resources, but I wasn't really able to find anything. I did come across one YouTuber who did lose her son. He was stillborn last year in June. That was a little bit helpful as far as watching some of her things, but there weren't a whole lot of blogs out there as far as infant loss or anything like that. So I just wanted to take this time to kind of do a little bit of a background as far as what happened. So my son's name is Atlas Arthur. The entire pregnancy was perfect. I mean, he didn't make me sick. I had very little heartburn, and I had been giving updates on social media, on Instagram and Facebook, starting with my first day of maternity leave. I took my first day of maternity leave on May 1st. I was due on May 5th, and I had been documenting that every day, you know, saying no baby yet, but here's what we did today, kind of waiting for him to come. And then when it came to day 15, I gave an update saying that baby was probably going to come today. So what me and my husband had planned for this birth was we wanted to do the birth at a birth center. So on Mother's Day, we had gone to the birth center at 8 o'clock at night, and my contractions still had some random, you know, 7-8 minutes apart. Most of them were 5 minutes and under, but there was still some random ones. She had done an exam and measured me, and I was at 2 centimeters. So she said, you know, go home and kind of wait it out. And I think that exam kind of got things rolling, because once I got home, they were pretty much, you know, right on top of each other. So I labored at home until about 12 o'clock, and then we called her and said, hey, you know, things are getting pretty serious, so we're gonna come in. I went there, I was at 3 centimeters. So I had been laboring there for a few hours, and they were getting really intense, the contractions. And they were getting really, you know, a high point, and then it would low, but it would never give me a break, and I was just in excruciating pain. So my midwife put me on a monitor, and you know, it seemed like Atlas wasn't really working with the contractions. So after she had monitored me a couple of different times, she said, you know, I think it's about time that we go to the hospital. And we went to the hospital, got there about 6 a.m. I got the epidural at about 7. Things seemed to be progressing quickly after that, but then it kind of stalled again. So at about noon, I had my waters broken, and then at about 3:30, I still was not really progressed at all. I had gone from a 7.5 when they broke my waters to an 8. So they started me on Pitocin, and at about 6:30, Atlas's heart rate went up to 180. So it had been consistent at like 150, 160. It went up to 180, and then within 5 minutes it dropped to 60. And then 55, and then they put an internal monitor in, and it was at 50, and then 45. So they rushed me to an emergency C-section. They took him out and, you know, rushed him off. I didn't hear him cry, so obviously I was, you know, really scared. And so I had, you know, said to my husband Josh, I said, you know, I don't hear him crying, like, you know, what's going on? And he was just trying to tell me not to worry, you know, that they're working on him. And the neonatologist came in and said that they did get a heartbeat, but it was really faint, and they gave him some medicine to help strengthen it. So from then, we were basically told that, you know, his brain was shutting down and that we needed to make a decision as far as if we wanted to take him off the ventilator and have him spend some time with us before he passed away, or if we wanted to keep him on the ventilator. So from what they had told us, it seemed, you know, like pretty like cut and dry. After we held him for, you know, quite some time, we decided to take him off the ventilator. He was born at 7:18 p.m. and he ended up passing at 1:02 the next morning. We did get some time with him. We did get to hold him, but it was really, really hard. Sorry. It's just like even hard now to wrap my head around what happened really. And at this point I can't really accept the fact that it happened the way that it did. It's just so mind-boggling that he was okay and then all of a sudden he wasn't. And for anyone who has gone through an infant loss or anything like that, I'm sure it's the same way. You can't wrap your head around it, that someone is there but then they're not. And it's just really weird because we were never able to take him home. So it's like he was there, he was in my belly, but he wasn't there physically. And then he was, and then all of a sudden he was gone. It's been really hard for Josh and I to kind of come to terms with. It's like, did this really even happen? Was I really even pregnant? I mean, and I know I was. It's something that we're still kind of struggling with. My sister had come home and cleared out most of his stuff that was waiting for him. And I don't know if that was better or worse. I'm part of some loss groups on Facebook, and some people leave this stuff and they don't go through it for a long time. Some people do have other people come and, you know, box it up and put it away because they don't want to see it. And I honestly don't know what's better. I don't know, because coming home and having all of his stuff gone when I knew it was there when we left, that was hard. But then if his stuff was there, it would probably, I mean, it still felt this way. It felt like we were just waiting for him to come home still. But it probably would have felt like that even more if his stuff was still there. We do still have his dresser full of clothes in the closet, but that's pretty much all we have. I just can't really go through that all right now. It's just kind of in there in the dresser. But it's just kind of one of those things where I don't know if I will ever be able to wrap my head around it. I did talk to my counselor. I had a first counseling appointment by myself yesterday, and she said that it will probably be more real down the road. That right now I'm kind of just like in a numb stage. I mean, I definitely cry. I still cry every day, at least once. It still doesn't feel real. And I worry sometimes that I'll forget him, or that I'll forget what he looked like or what he smelled like. My counselor reassures me that that will all come back once I'm not numb anymore. As far as how we're dealing and how we're making it through, it's been tough. I'm not back at work yet. I don't know even if I will go back. I'll talk about that in another video, as far as, you know, like concerns with work and the struggles that I feel like I would be facing if I went back, at least to that same place. But we're just dealing, you know. It's like we are definitely in our own bubble. It does help to know that other people have gone through what we have gone through or something similar, whether it's, you know, a miscarriage or a stillbirth or preterm labor or problems during delivery. I honestly don't know what situation is least heartbreaking. I think about that a lot. Would it be worse if we had been able to bring him home and been able to bond with him more, see his smile, get to know his laugh? But then I kind of envy those parents who do get time with their babies at home. So it might be harder, but you also get to cherish more memories with them. I don't know. I don't know what's worse or what's better, or even if there is one. They do all come with their own sets of unique struggles. So I hope that with this vlog that I'm able to reach people who may be going through the same struggles, just to let them know that they're not alone and kind of maybe validate some of the feelings that they're having, because I've felt like I've been crazy for having some of the thoughts that I've thought. Like even the one that I just said, like, am I crazy for trying to think, well, what situation is worse? What situation is better? Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's even healthy. I really don't know. I feel like I don't really know anything anymore, really. I had this vision for what my life would be now, and it's just completely shattered. I had 10 months to plan for what my life would be like next, and within that short amount of time, it's just completely gone. I hope that you all who are watching find this helpful. Like I said, I'll be talking about things that I'm dealing with, maybe things that Josh, my husband's, dealing with, and just so that people can maybe find something that they can relate to that makes them feel better about their situation. Obviously, nothing is going to make you feel completely better, but maybe it'll make you feel more sane, and just know that there's people out there who know what you're going through, or at least similar, and that it's not easy. And I'm still trying to figure out how to be okay and how I'm going to make it through. But I know it will probably be less stinging later on. At least that's my hope. So thank you for joining, and make sure that you tune in to my next ones, and hopefully this helps you in some way. And I appreciate all of you, and hope you have a good day.